Welcome to the Modernize or Die podcast, CFML News Edition, where we keep you up to date with everything going on in the Cold Fusion community. We'll share the latest news on events, releases to engines, frameworks, libraries, and tools, as well as spotlighting quality content from the community. Welcome back to another Modernize or Die CFML News Edition, May 28th, 2019. Andrew, welcome again. Thanks for joining me as my co-host for this little adventure.
Thank you, sir. I have thoroughly enjoyed it so far. Cool.
So the big news for us, last week we promised that we would let you know when the new Soapbox podcast was going to be released. So the Soapbox edition of this Modernize or Die podcast. And we're happy to announce that it is now available. So soapbox.modernizeordie.io is now available, so that's where you can get all the information on the website. You can get a link to the YouTube channel and see what's available in the subscription options. And we obviously have a YouTube channel for it as well. Video is better than audio, so if you want to do video as well, you can get to the YouTube playlist right there as well. And we do have the podcast player available too, and we're in the process of submitting them all to all the directories. So we're not approved in all of them yet, but there are a few. So RSS, Stitcher, Spotify, Pocket Cast are all approved and on the website already. But obviously there's a whole lot more that we'll be hopefully adding there very soon.
Yeah, good deal. And starting off our news for the week, Lucy has announced they have released version 5.3.2 final, and you can also grab that on ForgeBox as well. Brad got that put up there for us yesterday.
Cool.
In this release, they've fixed 67 tickets they've marked as resolved. Some of those may not be completely resolved yet, but they have them marked as resolved. And one of Patrick's notes, I want to read this off of their blog post. It said the next sprint is scheduled for July. So, as always, if we don't get your favorite tickets with this latest release, please comment, vote in JIRA, and we'll do our best to get priority. So, if you have an issue that's been submitted and you don't see that it's been fixed, go in there and upvote it because there are a lot of tickets that they have to go through and they have to prioritize. So, give them the courtesy of letting them know what is important to you.
Yep, go vote too, even if it's not your JIRA ticket, someone posted on Twitter, go vote, tell them it means something to you as well. We want to make sure that those important ones do get fixed. So
yep, absolutely.
Good. So our friend tomorrow, Pete Freitag, is going to be doing another of the Adobe Live screencasts. So he's doing his continuous security for your CFML code with Fixinator. So it's a great little series that Adobe has got going, and they have all the previous recordings there too. So if you guys haven't seen some of the ones we've missed, if you go to the link that we'll post in the show notes, meetups.adobeevents.com/coldfusion, if you change the type from webinar to recordings, you can get to see all the old ones too. So, but looking forward to Pete's presentation tomorrow, and then there's one the next week too with George Murphy.
Yeah, George is doing one on Code Checker. And it's a free open source tool for checking vulnerabilities in your CF code. So check George out as well and see what Code Checker is all about. And this is one of those products that I mentioned last week that you, Gavin, had worked on from another open source project. You guys forked and modernized it and
kept it. I'm gonna look that up and make sure I give credit to the guy. His name is just abandoning me right now, so I will get that and add that in there too. He was really good. He worked with us with that project, and he was cool converting over to a ColdBox site, and then like I said, Brad set it up as a command box command as well, so you can run it from the command line, and it's pretty cool. Like I said, a custom rule set, so like Adobe's rules, security rule analyzer and everything in CF Builder is great, but it's really cool when you can actually make your own rules as well. So very cool. So
correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Adobe is wrapping up their roadshows, or have they already wrapped up their final roadshow?
Yep. So the last one for the roadshows was last week down in Orange County, and I did actually get to go down there and meet a few people. So there was a few familiar faces, but also some new ones. So I met a guy who's been using ColdBox for I think since back in version 2, so he was doing some cool stuff and automating his whole build out and everything. And I told him he should set up some command box commands for it, because it was doing all the CRUD and doing all the front end Angular services and everything. It was pretty neat little process. And I'm like, yeah, slap that puppy in a command box command, and then you can just pipe that out through the command line. So he was that close to having it all done by himself. It was pretty cool. So that was good to see everybody there. We got to, it was a smaller group. I've been to the LA one before where they had like 50 or 60 people. This was a much smaller group, but it was really intimate. So we got to talk a lot and, talk about people's concerns and, questions. And Alicia was there, and I think Tim from the marketing sales was there as well. And it was a good time. We enjoyed it. Some really good food. Alicia's walked us through a lot of cool stuff there, and we just got to chat a little bit. It was a good
question,
time.
Is it premature to talk about what you and Alicia talked about for CF
Well, there are a
Summit?
few
or
things.
Am I jumping the gun? Or?
Yeah, there's a few things that we can talk about, and a few things we probably shouldn't talk about. But one of the exciting things for me from the roadshow was that they're looking at basically making CF Builder almost disappear and making VS Code their main editor. So I'm excited about that. So they're going to be adding a lot of Adobe extensions straight into VS Code. So it may not completely replace Builder, but they're going to put a big effort into it. So a lot of the cool things we've been using Builder for and holding on to Builder for should be available in VS Code very soon. Of course, we love VS Code here. But what I think you're hinting at, though, is this podcast might actually be live from CF Summit. So we got the unofficial, not sure yet, got to check with the boss type answer, but it sounds like they're happy to have us. They're happy to have us out there. They like the idea of the podcast, keeping all the news, and obviously we're sharing a lot of Adobe events. But yeah, you could see us live at CF Summit.
Yeah, that'll definitely be cool. So speaking of CF Summit, early bird registration it ends this month. If you plan on going, it is actually scheduled for October the 1st and the 2nd. It's a Tuesday and Wednesday, and it's one of the biggest. It is the biggest CFML conference of the year. There's going to be 500 plus, attendees. Last year had an excellent party.
This year's going to be better because we'll be at doing the podcast at the party.
We might have to. Yeah, let's think about that one. We'll talk on that. But now, when you were talking, even though the submissions was due May 26th,
call for speakers.
For speakers. Yes.
Unofficially, she said we may not close it right on time. So I just looked right now, and the call for speakers is still open as of right now. So if you guys didn't get your submission in, quickly go before they turn it off. Get your
so
submission
just go to their
there.
website, throw your submission in there with legit content, obviously. And but technically, the end of that was the 26th. But if it's open, maybe you can slide one in there.
Yeah, but then for those of you who haven't spoken at a conference before, Cold Fusion conferences, usually what they'll do is they'll cover your ticket into the conference. They'll cover your hotels for the nights that you're required to stay there. Sometimes there's a speaker dinner or a snack event, and Adobe's usually pretty good about giving these little gifts as well. So it's a pretty cool thing. I mean, you save a good chunk of money. You get to be at a conference, and get to meet a lot of the other speakers too. So you get some one-on-one time with the speakers at the speaker dinner. It's worth doing. So if you've thought about it, submit it. What's the worst that could happen? They could say yes, and you get some free stuff, and have a great conference and meet up with all of us.
Yeah, I think the worst could happen is they could say yes, and you get up there and choke.
Yes, Andrew.
Sorry, we're never going to live that one down. But also at the conference as well, they're doing their special certification program. It's one that similar that they've done years past. The early bird for it as well is ending this month. It's currently $3.99. Don't know what it's going to go up to yet, but if that's something you're interested in doing, I encourage you to check it out now.
Yep. And then at this point, that's the only workshop that prior to the conference. I did talk to Alicia to try and get some more information, and they're not sure if they're going to do any other workshops. They may do, Pete Freitag's security one's always a big hit, so they could do something like that. But at this point, they're, this is the main workshop beforehand. So if you want to do a workshop, that's a good one to go to. And Ortus is doing our trainings after the conference. So Monday is the specialist program. Tuesday, Wednesday is the conference, and then Thursday, Friday, we're going to be doing Ortus training. So make sure you don't book your ticket to leave on Wednesday night, because Thursday, Friday, you're going to be having some fun with the Ortus team. So right now, we're trying to decide if we should do the ColdBox Zero to Hero, which is a really popular workshop, and everyone loves it. And it's really good for beginners that maybe have never touched ColdBox before, or even a framework. But the other option is that some of the people that went last year, either at CF Summit or Into the Box, they're like, we want the next one. We want ColdBox Zero to Superhero, or whatever you're going to call it. So they want a little more advanced. So I think we should tell everyone, get on Twitter right now. Go to hit Ortus Solutions on Twitter and tell us what workshop you want. Do you want the ColdBox Zero to Hero, or do you want the ColdBox Hero to Superhero advanced one? I mean, you've been in that and stuff. I mean, it's a good one, but obviously there's a lot more we could do, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I've actually attended several workshops, and because there is a vast range of skill set amongst people, and trying not to get anybody left behind or anything like that. Sometimes it kind of leaves you yearning for more, wanting to know more, to take it to the next level, and while you're in the middle of all the excitement and learning and things like that. Sometimes it's a week or two before you can jump back on it after a conference, Yeah. So it would be good. I've seen in times where I would like to go on a little bit further as well. So vote. So, send a submission in on Twitter. Let Ortus know what you would like to see.
And
that's what it's all going to. It's all going to depend on what you guys want. So.
Yep. And the other thing too is Ortus does online trainings as well. So, if you guys really want this for your company, you guys can't make it out there and you want the training, let us know. We do online trainings all the time. We could even come to you in person. But, there's nothing beats the experience of doing it in person after a conference, some other people. It's a good social event. You learn a lot, and it's just a good time. But, if you do want the training, you can't make it, let us know. Reach out to us, and we can give you some pricing on what it would take to do online or even at your place of work.
Yep, and the dates for all of that, it all starts on September 30th if you're doing the Adobe pre-conference, and will end on Friday, October the 4th, if you're going to do the Ortus workshop. So,
make a week of it.
Dates. Yep, and then just a few weeks later, what do we have?
We have ColdBox Zero to Hero in Bangalore, India. So Luis is going to be out there doing that boot camp. So again, it's really popular, and so we're hitting out that way as well. So Luis is going to be running that training there. He's encouraging, if you got a group, please contact him for some group pricing as well. But again, it's a 2-day conference. It's the most popular ColdBox workshop we have right now, and it's a great one. I even mentioned it to Alicia at the roadshow, and she said that she'd love to go. So she's hoping that she can get get permission from the higher ups to get to that workshop as well. And we're hoping that some of the Adobe engineers can see it and see what the framework is doing, and we can really get a little lower in the engine and get some more efficiency and speed out of it, because we're always trying to make ColdBox better. But so if you guys are in the area, please check it out. Again, the show notes will have the link for that. And then at the same time, we'll be in CF Camp. So CF Camp in basically Munich, Germany. The call for speakers is available. Tickets, we're still, I think, waiting on tickets to become available. They're waiting for the lineup, I believe. So they're working on that. Again, the call for speakers, hurry up and submit. There's a lot of great speakers going to be there. Don't miss out. But again, Ortus will be there. We'll be training. So Luis will be in India, and Eric Peterson and Brad Wood are going to be there. They're going to do some 2-day workshops too. And they were leaning towards doing a test box workshop and an REST API workshop. But again, if you guys want to tell us what you want out there, if you're going to be in Europe and you're going to attend, let us know. We can do Command Box, ColdBox Zero to Hero. We can do Wirebox, Logbox, Cachebox, Testbox, REST APIs. There's a whole lot of workshops we've done in the past. So if there's something you guys need, let us know. So again, reach out on Twitter, Ortus Solutions. Let us know what you want.
Cool. Yeah, and just a reminder, the training workshops, they are going to be on the 15th and 16th before the conference. So it'll be a pre-conference workshop, whereas the one in Vegas is post-conference. So just keep that in mind for your scheduling and flights and things like that.
Yep. And you always want to give yourself a little bit of time for the jet lag, too, if you guys are traveling from the U.S. over to Europe. So give yourself an extra day beforehand.
Yep, absolutely. And that brings us to blogs, tweets, and videos of the week.
Yep, so we got a few here. Ray Camden is actually talking about Cold Fusion again. He's been doing a lot of serverless and mobile and Vue.js stuff lately, but he's got a Fusion Reactor and Cold Fusion Queries post here. So it looks like he's doing a little series on Fusion Reactors, so that's pretty cool. So if you haven't used Fusion Reactor, you need to. I mean, I can't live without it. What about you?
Yeah, I've used it. I wouldn't say daily, but almost daily. It really comes in handy. And honestly, for me, the best feature that I really do like is basically what Ray is covering here, is seeing my queries.
Yep.
Making sure that I'm getting an efficient query, back. Seeing where the delay was. Was it on the server side or was it on the CF processing side? It's really good to know. And, this blog post here kind of, alludes to how to check that out yourself.
Yep. And so it looks like a good one for sure. I love the query piece of that. Definitely helpful. And then right after that, Brian Class is up to part 9 of his epic series on using AWS step functions in CFML. So it's a great series, and he's a great speaker, great writer. So please check that out. Really, really
cool.
Yeah,
and I'm going to jump the gun once again and kind of let everybody know. I guess I can say, I guess it's okay. Brian is planning on going on the Soapbox edition. You guys are working out a schedule now.
Yep.
Is that correct? So cool. So hopefully you can kind of get him to go over some of this, talk about, this whole series that he's doing. And
and like I said, I mean,
he's bringing some more.
His job at the university, they do some amazing stuff with AWS, and he's using Cold Fusion to sort of, orchestrate it. But all the hard, heavy lifting is done by AWS, and they're doing some pretty cool stuff. So, I'm excited to talk to him again, and I know I've spoken with him at conferences before, and I like his sessions a lot. So, I'm excited to see that here. So, hopefully, he can give you the backstory on why they do it and how he chooses the right tool for the job, and sort of go from there. So, hopefully to get that one scheduled out soon. We've got quite a few community members lined up in the schedule. I'm pretty busy with podcasts. So we got a lot of great content coming there.
Yep, and some of the tweets we have, looks like Michael Bourne is at it again. It seems like we need to create a movie kind of thing going on.
Yeah, section just for him. What's Michael Bourne doing this week?
yeah, what's Michael doing this week? But he's doing, he mentioned something about 5 days of CI with Cold Fusion and Bitbucket pipeline. So he's, doing some blog posts, and he's got a mailing list as well. Be sure to sign up. Check it out.
Yep, and almost as many as.
Hopefully, we're not overloading him here with expectations, but he's doing a really good job, with his blog post. So we do appreciate it as a community.
Yep, Michaela Light from TerraTech has been sharing a lot of things via Twitter lately. So a lot of the slides from the Into the Box has been. She's just had on a regular schedule, so all the talks, all the slideshows are being released there. So if you do a search on Twitter for just the Cold Fusion hashtag, you'll see a lot of them from the conference. So I saw mine up there the other day. I saw one of Luis's, and I think I saw Brian's as well. So all the speakers and their slides are up there. She's linking out to all of them. So make sure you do that. But also Into the Box, obviously there's a lot of stuff going on, a lot of announcements at the keynote, and a lot of releases happened, and we may not have really touched on them, so we thought we better make sure we cover a few of these because they're important too.
Yeah, and absolutely. And this actually came from a retweet that we saw on Twitter talking about TestBox 3.0 being released. And quite honestly, since the conference, I hadn't had time to install it and utilize it yet. But one of the biggest things it has is code coverage, basically letting you know that the code you have written is actually being executed and utilized. And that's where this whole section kind of evolved from. Wanting to inform you guys of the new releases. TestBox 3.0, ColdBox 5.4 has been released. as well as Quick 2.0, and the Fusion Reactor 4.0 module there has been released.
And you need that one so the code coverage stuff works there. And again, you guys can chase all these down. They're going to be on the Ortus Solutions blog. We have a link to the blog there. But yeah, a lot of great releases, and yeah, check back. They got release notes for everything. You can find out what's changed, what released, and yeah. So next on the list,
it brings us to the ForgeBox module of the week. What do we have today?
This time we're looking at Hyper, because we're
Hyper.
Yep, another Eric Peterson module of surprise. Yeah. He's got like 50% of them, so it's 50% chance that it's going to be him. But yeah, Hyper is a pretty cool little tool. So it tries to make a fluent builder experience for your HTTP requests. So, the idea is that instead of using the CF HTTP, the sort of clunky old school code, now you can do a much more, fluent way to basically code out your stuff. And if anyone's used Axios for JavaScript, something like that, it's a lot closer to that. But there's some cool features.
And for anybody who has not used Axios, kind of think of it, if you touched on Quick or QB, how it builds up the request and things like that. That's kind of what Hyper does for the HTTP protocol.
Yep. And then one of the cool things he basically built it because he was frustrated every time you have to do an Amazon AWS like S3 call.
Crazy token.
Yeah, you have to do a token, you have to add it, and you have to do the same authorization stuff every single time. And so one of the cool things about Hyper is you can basically say, okay, for this request, here's the base URL, here's your authorization token. And you can say, I'm going to save this as AWS Hyper. And now all you have to do is just do AWS Hyper.get, give it the difference, and all the authentication tokens and everything is all handled because you basically saved it up. It just wrapped it up in a pre-configured little setup. It's pretty cool.
Yep, it is real cool. And I've utilized it. And there's one thing I want to kind of plug, and we'll have the link to this in the show notes. There's a little tool that I actually developed called cooltools.bluesoul.io. It's really just a dumping grounds where I was developing some tools, but basically, it converts curl to Hyper. We've all had APIs that people gave you examples of, in documentations utilizing curl. But man, you can simply copy the curl command, paste it in, and it'll generate the Hyper version of that for you. So it'll kind of a quick jump start into using Hyper. So definitely check that out.
I was pretty impressed by that. I was like, man, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing real flashy and fancy. It's just it's written in Quasar. We'll talk about that probably another time. But it's just a quick conversion for you guys.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
So after that, next we have our VS Code hints, tips, and tricks of the week. So what are we talking about this week?
Yeah, so this one here is one you submitted. It's called GitLens. You had mentioned it to me the other day, and I'd used it in earlier versions, and I really wasn't impressed, to be honest with you. But this had been, I don't even know how long I've been using VS Code now. At any rate, now there's over I don't even know how many, 20 million downloads, 5-star rated.
That's pretty
module.
Cool.
Yeah. So, do you have a screenshot or anything up there showing any of the features of it? Well, it's basically integrating Git into VS Code. We already have that, but this is like Git on, steroids.
Yep. I mean, it has some pretty cool stuff. I mean, you've got some sidebar views of repositories. You can do the status bar blame, so you can see who's at fault for that. But there's also like inline blame. You can do gutter blames. You can open it up and see the line-by-line thing just like you would on GitHub. And then there's also like a gutter heat map, which I never noticed before, but the more recent the code update, the hotter the heat map is. So on the side of your lines, if it's red, then it means it's being changed more recently than other stuff. So I mean, it's pretty cool.
It's very subliminal, but it's once you know it's there, it's really helpful.
Yep, and you can just like mouse over a change, it'll give you a diff right in the hover. It's pretty cool. So I just actually found it just recently, but it was kind of nice, in the line to see when I last changed that code or that line. And I mean, there's a lot of features. I haven't even turned them all on. In the configuration, you can mess with it as much as you want, and it's pretty cool. So again, show notes is going to have that there, but
one of the features that I like about it, it has in the sidebar, it has a drop down showing the history of that actual file. And so you can just kind of click through back all the commits for that particular file, and it just give you an overview as to what was changed right there. Yes, we all can do that in Bitbucket, GitLab somehow. I can't ever remember. But it's just nice to have it all right there in your code, just to look at quickly. So, real cool. Check it out.
Very cool. Like I said, I just found it myself, and I thought, you know what? That deserves the module of the week for me. So, or the extension. So then, wrapping up here, we got our Patreon supporters. So again, thanking everybody for reaching out and supporting Ortus Solutions here, and the funds go directly towards our open source projects, so our documentation, our server infrastructure for ForgeBox and CommandBox package management, and so yeah, this is the time of the show where we thank our supporters and we mispronounce their names. And funnily enough, one of our supporters responded to your message last week, and he sent us something, didn't he?
Yeah, we got one from Joseph. What was it again?
Lamory.
No. What was the other name? Yeah. He pulled a funny one on us. So it was kind of hilarious. We'll get permission to post a video, but it was kind of hilarious. So I do encourage everyone to join me in thanking Gary Knight, Jan Yannick, Joseph, and then your turn.
Lamory.
Joseph Lamory, but I done skipped over that part. Sorry.
I get Laxma Titrahadi.
Yeah, thank you for bailing me out there. Richard Herbert, John Farrar, Carl Van Stetten, Don Bellamy, Samuel Knowlton, David Bellinger, Yogesh Mather. Who else we got? We got Stephen Klotz, Dan Card, Jeremy Adams, Brian White, and who else?
Dia Lesnicki.
Yeah, we do thank you all for your support. And I've got a note here from Brad to let you guys know that he has recorded a screencast on the code coverage. He did it last week, and he plans to get it released very soon. So that'll be something coming maybe this week. So check for that, look for that. It'll be a blog or tweet from Brad about code coverage.
Yep, so remember, if you guys want to get more information on the podcast, cfmlnews.modernize.io is the website. You can subscribe to the podcast or hit the YouTube link to go to our playlist. You can see previous episodes. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Click the little alarm icon as well, and that'll give you instant notification when we go live. So we're trying to make sure that we have the schedule out there so you guys can follow along and join us live. And again, this short little news show is not so short.
Do the notification. Gavin won't send it out at midnight again. He promises.
Yeah. I accidentally clicked the button one night and everybody's like, "You're going live." I'm like, "Oops, wrong button. Sorry, guys."
Sorry. Go back to bed.
Yeah.
Well, it's been fun, Gavin. I hope we've covered everything. If there's any blog post or any news that we're not aware about, shoot it to Gavin or myself. If you use, Twitter, use the CFML hashtag or CFML news or something, just so that, we can be, aware of what all is going on, as well as the community, so we can reshare it, essentially.
Yep, exactly.
But I think that wraps it up for today, doesn't it?
Yep, just remember, subscribe everywhere. If you guys are on iTunes or Spotify, whatever, leave us a review, 5 stars, please. That helps us get up the list so more people can find us. And, thanks for coming, and we'll see you guys next week.
All right. You guys have a good one.
Thanks, everybody. Show notes for this episode can be found at cfmlnews.modernize.io, where you can also subscribe to your favorite podcast player like Spotify or iTunes. We also have the link to YouTube to find more videos just like this. The music used in this podcast is under a royalty-free license from Sound.com and Blue Tree Audio.